Ted Williams is well represented on this table in front of me. Joining me, David Hunt of Hunt Auctions. The Ted Williams collection at public auction takes place April 28th at Fenway Park. The 100-year celebration of Fenway continues this month in Boston. And tell us about the memorabilia. Some of this stuff is absolutely eye-popping.
Well, you think Fenway Park and Boston baseball history, and you have to start and sort of finish with Ted Williams if you're talking about greatest players in their history. And there's so many poignant things, starting with maybe one of the best things, the 1949 Most Valuable Player Award that Ted won. You see him pictured there receiving it. And it's really the pinnacle of personal accolades as a player. This is what every player strives for. Ted won it several times. This is his 1949 representation. Pretty expensive piece, too, about $150,000 to $250,000 pre-sale estimate.
And that's a baseball piece, clearly,
that's right,
through and through. The next item is the one when I walked into the studio, it caught my eye, and I couldn't stop looking at it. Tell us about this. It's nothing to do with baseball. It's about American history, really.
Yeah, I think this is one of the main points that we want to get across, and I know Claudia Williams, his daughter, wants to get across, is he was much more than a baseball player. He served in World War II and the Korean War, and these are his actual flight logs that he used to record his flights, even in Korea when he got shot down. Wouldn't eject. He said, "The hell with this. I'm going to be back to the base with this plane." So you put these in your hands, and the history you're holding is really unique, very special.
And it's handwritten as well by Ted Williams.
Yeah, signed multiple times. He'd have to sign off on his hours of flight, and the captain would check off on it. So again, even if you're not interested in bidding on these things, just learning about the history of really a great American hero, not just a baseball player.
The next item is one that we're familiar with through video, that grainy video of Babe Ruth with a cigar wearing this crown.
Yeah.
What is it, and what's the tie-in with Ted Williams?
Well, you're right. You picture that tilted crown and the cigar coming out of the side of his mouth. This is Williams' representation from 1957 when he won the batting title. 39 years old and batted .388. Not really a good year, but nonetheless being presented by Stan Musial, so another good player. Very special piece. Anytime you get these type of award pieces on that level, they're going to be fairly significant. Probably about 50 to 100,000 on this.
50 to 100 grand. Lots of hits in that picture, Musial and Williams.
Just a few, just a few.
Just a few. A lot of hits in these, too.
Right.
These are boxing gloves presented by the greatest, Muhammad Ali, to Ted Williams. How did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, you get a player on Ted Williams' level, and other athletes obviously have mutual respect. They go to various banquets and functions. In 1988, these gloves signed by Ali to Ted from one great to another. So that personalization really adds a lot of value and sort of interest to them as well.
Back to Babe Ruth and this color picture here behind the baseball. The color picture taken, what, 1940-ish, give or take a year or two?
Yeah, 1943, one of two famous meetings between Ruth and the much younger Williams at that point. Ruth had a great deal of regard for Ted. He actually remarked to the papers at the time, he thought if anybody were going to beat his home run record, it would be Ted. Ted asked him to sign a ball, only one he ever asked for, purportedly by Ted himself. And he signed it to my pal, Ted Williams from Babe Ruth. And fascinatingly, later in life, Ted recounted to his daughter Claudia and many of his fans that he would sign things to children to my pal because this very moment, it affected him so much.
So we move from the 1940s now to 1999, and that picture of Ted Williams at Fenway Park, one of the most famous days ever in the 100-year history of that park. Ted Williams at the All-Star Game and the ball that goes with it. What's the background?
Well, if you're a baseball fan in the last 50 years, maybe longer, how do you not remember that moment in Fenway Park? Ted Williams came out, all the players surrounding him at the mound, and then Tony Gwynn famously helping him to throw that first pitch. This is that baseball. So if you want to talk about holding a piece of history and something that really truly is unique, that really embodies it, and a very special piece to probably a lot of people out there that are diehard Red Sox fans or just baseball fans.
And long before 1999 was 1912, 100 years ago. The ball on the very end is the first ball ever thrown in a game at Fenway Park.
The 100th year of Fenway Park made this a natural backdrop to do this auction of Ted Williams, but there's a few elite consignments that we certainly allowed in, and this piece didn't have to ask for any qualifiers. I mean, this is the actual baseball inscribed fully as being there that day in 1912, and it just literally provides a portal for 100 years ago. 100 years ago this Friday, being used in that game appropriately against a team called the Highlanders, which are the Yankees now. So really special piece of history. Should be about $150,000 to $250,000.
Just for that ball?
Just for that one.
Just don't let it end up in the backyard with your kids.
Right.
On this table, all of these items, give me a rough estimate in value.
Well, there's certainly very significant things here, and cumulatively this will certainly be a multiple seven-figure auction in general. There are many, many things in the auction, but lots of things that are very affordable too, and that was important to the Williams family and us to have something for everybody, to have the ability to learn about a great American and a great baseball player and maybe take part and have a lot of fun.
Perhaps the best hitter to ever live. Ted Williams, the collection at public auction Saturday, April 28th at Fenway Park. And there are 3 ways to bid Saturday, April 28th at Fenway Park. You can bid by phone, by internet, or live in person at the auction. For more details, go to huntauctions.com. David Hunt, president of Hunt Auctions, thanks.
Yeah, great to be here.